So before I even get into the story, let me just say this. I am not lucky. If you clicked on this video, don't sit here and think, oh, that must be nice for her. You're watching this video for a reason, and you've already aligned yourself with the energy of you getting paid for your passion. So that means your time is coming, but only if you stop treating this like it's completely out of reach. This video is not some little highlight reel just to impress you. It's a literal breakdown of how you can do the exact same thing that I did, maybe even better. So I'm not the exception. It's just that I have a system. So go ahead and grab your cocktail, take notes, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to turn your content into a 4 or 5 figure brand deal too. So let's get into it. Hey babes, I'm Brianna, your no fluff content strategist who loves helping creators make content that expresses their passions while also getting paid at the exact same time. Because most of you don't watch my entire videos, I have to say this right now. 2 weeks ago, I told you all that I was working to get monetized on YouTube by the end of the month. And as of this morning, we are 80% of the way there, you guys, which honestly feels like an outer body experience. I always thought YouTube was so hard of a platform to grow on. And I was just like, there's no way I can be a YouTuber. Nobody wants to sit here and listen to me tell them what to do all day. But you all clearly proved me wrong. And I genuinely want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you all so much. You have no idea how grateful I am to even have this opportunity. You all have no idea how much this genuinely means to me. And before I sit here and start crying on Beyonce's internet, let's get back into the video. I just need to say thank you. And so in today's video, we're going to talk about how I was able to get an extra $5,000 for one brand deal. And once you learn this, you'll never leave money on the table again. We're talking how to counter brand offers, how to upsell without being annoying, and what to charge for extras like raw files or story posts. So grab your notes. I'm giving you the exact blueprint. Now, the biggest problem here is that most creators, especially new creators, are getting underpaid because they don't know what to ask for, or they say yes to the very first offer, or they don't realize that you can literally charge for every single thing. But let's talk about why this happens. So, most creators aren't naturally negotiators. They started creating content to share their passion. Most of us are used to giving out value for free. So, when brands come with any offer, it just feels like a win. And majority of the time it is, but this is just the floor. It's not necessarily the ceiling. Plus, on top of that, we've been conditioned to think that we're lucky to get brand deals. We should just shut up and be grateful, especially creators of color. And then the fear of sounding too difficult or just losing the opportunity altogether. Most creators accept the first number that they're offered and don't ask any questions. And on top of all of that, a lot of new creators think that the brand knows best. They think, well, I'm offered this amount. It must be my actual worth because I don't know what my worth is. So they let the brand define what their actual value is. But that's not how it works, babe. The truth is, brands don't always expect new creators to negotiate, so they use that to their advantage. And that's exactly why you need to walk into these deals knowing your worth and, more importantly, knowing how to verbalize that and knowing how to back it up. And don't worry, I got you. I'm going to give you a baseline formula in just a minute to help you calculate your rates, even if you're a brand new creator. So let's get into how this deal happened and what we can learn from it. Section 1, they found me because I was loud on purpose. So the way all of this started was I had made a post saying that I was looking for a course builder site for a course that I'm working on. And then I asked my audience if they had any recommendations to let me know. And thanks to my audience, you guys have tagged quite a few different sites, but the number one that was tagged was Kajabi. And at the time, I really wasn't trying to get a brand deal. I was just being honest. I needed something and I figured my audience would be able to help me out with it. But guess who slid into my DMs? Kajabi did. Now, if you don't know about Kajabi, it's the biggest or one of the biggest course builder sites, but that's not necessarily the point. It was just me as a creator sharing my behind the scenes process and showcasing what exactly that I needed. So the lesson here is do not underestimate the power of transparency. I've said this to you guys before in 3 other videos, but when you talk about your journey, you attract the right brands who want to be a part of it. And this is why I'm always talking to you all about having a strong story theme, because my goal is to set you up for opportunities like this. And this is why I always tell y'all to build in public. Do not wait until it's already perfect to push it out. Let people know whatever it is that you're struggling with and ask them for help. The help will come. So section 2, the first offer and why I said no. So the brand initially came to me and they requested for me to do one video for $1,500, which I mean is not bad for one video, but I never accept the first offer and you shouldn't either. Here's why. The first offer is never the best that they can do. It's usually just the lowest approved budget that they got to get the conversation started. So a good rule of thumb here is to automatically add 20% to the first offer. That's going to give you wiggle room to land at a fair offer without you underselling yourself. That also signals to the brand that you know your value and you're not afraid to ask for it. So that has us sitting at $1,800. So when you find yourself in this situation, here's a prompt that you can use. Thanks so much for the offer. Based on the results I consistently bring to partnerships and the confidence I have in driving ROI for your brand, I'm comfortable with moving forward at state your counter rate. Let me know if that works for you. Now, the reason why this works is because one, it completely reframes that power dynamic. So instead of sounding like you're asking for more money, you're just confidently stating your value. You're not just a creator, you're a business partner at this point. Two, the strategic wording positions you as outcome focused. It doesn't sound like you're just quoting a random number. You're tying your rate to the results and the return on investment for the brand. So essentially, what you're doing is you're speaking the brand's language. And this is going to shift the conversation from a brand thinking your video is going to be a cost, and instead they're going to be thinking it's an investment. And that's where we want them. And in three, you're building credibility without having to over explain yourself. You're not giving them your whole resume. You're simply showing them that you have the confidence that this can work out. And so that's going to build a little bit of trust. And then four, it makes room for collaboration without you having to sound desperate. By ending with the let me know if this works for you, it sounds casual but firm at the exact same time. It's saying, I'm expecting a response from this. You're inviting them to continue the conversation, but you're not sitting here begging for approval. Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay, so that's not the end of the email. As I was going through the deliverable details, they also wanted to have a 2-month exclusivity. So when I saw that, the price went up from 1,800 to 2,000 at this point. Now, was that a big jump? Honestly, not really. Adding only $200 for exclusivity is very modest. But there's a method to my madness, so here's why I did it. I wasn't planning on working with any other course builder site anyway at that time. So this wasn't necessarily about loss of income. I still charged more because at the end of the day, if a brand didn't want to reach out, it was still restricting my potential earnings. And at the end of the day, we can't give that away for free. Ultimate goal is to always play the long game here. I wanted to keep the rate fair so that way I could build rapport with the brand. I personally don't like the whole one-off brand deals. I'm trying to become your go-to partner every single quarter. So that way I'm creating more predictable income. It's not necessarily about being greedy at this point, it's about being smart and strategic. Here's the prompt that you're going to steal. Given the 2-month exclusivity, I need to adjust the rate to reflect the opportunity cost of not being able to take on similar projects during that time. And a lot of brands completely understand this. So when I came back with the 2 grand from the 1,500, they were kind of like, oh, cool. We completely get it. So now let's bring us into section 3. I pitched more than they even asked for. Now, here is where I always flip the script and they don't even see it coming. They asked me for one video concept because that's what we agreed upon. What I did is I sent them 4 video concepts with full ideas, structure, messaging. I painted the picture for them. Wanted them to see like the bigger picture and get sold on ideally the full vision. Now, unfortunately, that didn't happen, but instead of just one, they did like 2 out of the 4 videos. So I basically said to them, I know you asked for one video, but I had quite a few ideas and I just didn't want to hold back. Let me know what you think. So instead of just getting paid for one video, now we're at 2. Cost of the second video, I did discount quite a bit. I didn't just double and make it $4,000. So what we landed on was $3,500 for the 2 videos. The tip here is to always be proactive with your ideas. If a brand asks you for one concept and you have 3 that you can think of, send them 3. If they ask for 4 and you have 8, send them a little bit more than what they asked for, just in case they want to pick up more videos from you. If they ask for one and you only send them one, the only thing you're doing is just shooting yourself in the foot. So at this point, the negotiations and the contract signed, it's time for me to make the content and send out to a draft. If you've never had a brand deal before, that's typically how it goes. You have to send the proof of concept so that way you guys are aligned on what the video is going to look like. And then you make the content, send it to the brand so that way you guys are visually aligned in what the video is going to look like. So section 4 is charging for raw files. Yes, you can do that. So after I sent them the final draft, they actually asked for my raw files. If you're not familiar, raw files is exactly how it sounds. they wanted the unedited version of my video, which I've noticed a lot more brands are asking for. So it's kind of like, yeah, I'll send it to you, but not for free, babe. Here's the thing. I personally don't film in clean takes. If you guys seen any of my other videos, you know that you hear me stutter all the time. So giving them raw files meant that I had to go back and re-record and make sure I had clean takes that were reusable. And that's extra labor as well. So for that, I quoted them at $2K. And they were smart and paid that rate because what they can now do is they can remix my content. They can run ads. They can also create spin-off content without having to hire another content creator. So in this scenario, what you would say is, I'm happy to provide the raw files. I typically charge an additional fee for raw assets as I'll need to refilm clean text to ensure usability. For this project, that would be, boom, whatever your rate is. When a brand asks for raw files, you want to charge between 50 to 100% of what the current contract rate is. So me only charging $2,000 for raw files on a $3,500 brand deal is actually really conservative. But I just found that information out as I was scripting this video, so next time I'll charge a little bit more. Section 5, the upsell you didn't know you could do. Story posts. So at this point, we have the brand deal wrapped up. They've approved the draft. I've sent the raw files, but I always keep one more upsell in my back pocket. I propose that we should do a couple of like story posts to kind of warm my audience up to the brand deal video. I said, I'd love to post a casual story before the main campaign to introduce my audience to your brand. That way, they're already familiar and curious when it goes live. Now, at that time, the ball is in their court. So I didn't propose how many story posts, and I didn't say what the rates of that would be. I just wanted to see if they were turned on to the idea. So they came back to me and were like, actually, that's a great idea. What do you think about us doing 4 story posts? Now, at this point, you already know what time it is. We've done this little song and dance already before. When a brand asks for more deliverables, that is your time to pull that rate card right back out. So at this point, I'm so stoked. And I was like, absolutely, we can do that for an extra $1,000. And the funny thing is, and well, I guess why is that funny? I guess not so funny. But the thing is, I didn't have to film for these story posts. I took static shots while I was filming for the brand deal because I knew I was eventually going to pitch a story post. I get a behind the scenes shot, I get a product placement shot, and then I get a me interacting with the product shot. And I'll take stills of each of this, and then I'll also take all 3 of these and create 5-second clips as well, just in case. And so in actuality, creating that story post only took me like 20 minutes. Who doesn't want to get paid $1,000 for 20 minutes worth of work? It might not seem like a lot to you guys, but shit, it's a lot to me. So, moral of the story here is that there's always an upsell. All right, so let's go into section 6. What I wish most creators knew about pricing. I get this question all the time, but Brianna, I don't know what to charge to brands. Here's the thing I need you guys to realize before we get into any of this. It doesn't necessarily always just equate to follow count. That's really a lazy way to price yourself. So instead of me just giving you a follower base rate, here's how I want you to think about it. So your base rate for one short form video should be your hourly time that it takes you to create times your desired hourly rate. And then you're going to add onto that whatever extra skills do you have. If you're better at editing than the average person, that's an extra cost. If your engagement is higher than anybody else with that same follower count that you have, boom, that's an extra cost. So let me break it down. Time spent. Be honest. How long does it take you to film, edit, re-record if you need to, and then post a video on average? And your desired hourly rate and your ideal job, how much would you want to get paid per hour? Usually that's around 50 per hour, 75 per hour, but you figure it out for yourself. Skill level. Are your videos crisp? Can you film and upload in 4K? Do you have the ability to heavily edit your videos? You deserve to charge for that clean, polished type of content because brands are also hiring creators who can't do that anyway. So why not get paid more for a higher quality? Your engagement strength. A small audience with high conversions is way better than a large audience that doesn't move at all. If your audience listens to you, your rates go up. Now, with that being said, here is your adjusted cheat sheet if you're just now starting out. Your base rate is 1,000. Your base rate should be between 1,000 to 1,500 per 10K views. No, per 10K followers. And that's assuming that your engagement is decent and your content is really polished. And then if a brand asks you for usage rights, that's 50 to 100% of what your base rate is. If a brand wants exclusivity, then you can charge at least 25 to 50%, depending on how long and how broad the restriction is. Raw files, they start at $7.50. And you can move that number up if you have to refilm to get clean takes. Story posts. You can bundle 2 to 4 stories together for like $500 to $1,500. That's going to be based upon the effort, the production, and the value. So as I tell you how I upsold this brand for a couple $1,000s, that's not wild. That's industry standard once you understand your value. Now, advanced tips to help you maximize your brand deal value. So let's get into the stuff that people don't talk about enough. The real way creators leave thousands of dollars on the table without even realizing it. Whitelisting. If a brand wants to run your content as a paid ad under your name, but they control the audience and the speed, then that has to be extra. So you're going to start between $500 to $1,000 for 30 days. So then you can increase depending on how long they want to whitelist your video. Exposure isn't always worth it because at the end of the day, the brand still has money coming in based off of running your ad. So you should get a portion of that too. Content licensing. If they want to repost your video on their website or their newsletters or to run it as an ad on YouTube or maybe even an in-store display, that's a licensing fee base. Start with a 3-month term and then go from there. Think of it like you're renting your content out. And no, that does not give them lifetime rights unless they're going to pay you a lifetime rate. Make sure that's clear in the contract. Think in packages. Don't just pitch one post. You can bundle your deliverables into a mini campaign. You can do it all at once, which I really don't recommend, or you can do it the same way that I did, bit by bit. So that way you walk away from the deal with 1 in-feed post, 3 story posts, and then either commission or affiliate shares or another UGC opportunity. This makes it easier to charge more, and brands love it when you structure all of this into one clean little package. And most importantly, if you take nothing else from this video, always keep the relationship warm. The real money in all of this stuff isn't off the one-off partnerships. It is those creators who turn themselves into brand ambassadors. And that's why I've already put it on my calendar. I'm going to follow up with the brand in 3 months to see if we can collab again. And if they say yes, at the end of that deal, I'm going to offer them a 6-month partnership. Maybe I should be making content for your brand once a month for 6 months. Because you're not just sitting here trying to make a check, you're trying to build a roster. So just in case you didn't digest all of that, let me give it to you rapid fire. 1, get discovered intentionally. Talk about your needs, your goals, and the tools that you need to get there publicly. 2, negotiate like the content CEO that you are. Always counter with clarity and confidence. 3, pitch more than you're being asked. Give them options. It's going to position you as a strategist. 4, charge for your value, not just your time. Usage rights, raw files, stories, price for all of them. 5, make a follow-up system. Add brand check-ins to your calendar every 90 days. 6, keep receipts. Every win that you have is going to be a case study that you can use in the future. I know that was a lot, but I'm hoping that it unlocks something for you. And if you learned anything from this video, please let me know in the comments so that way I know that you've made it to the end. And let me know, have you ever negotiated a brand deal before, or do you typically just take what the brand offers? Oh, and bonus, if you did make it this far, be sure to check down in the comments. I'm going to leave a brand strategy freebie down there for you guys. Before you leave, don't forget to hit that subscribe button because I see a lot of you watching multiple videos and not subscribing, and we hate that for you. We would love to have you a part of the community, and I will see you in my next video. I love you. Bye.